The police are already narrowing down to what might have happened to Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei, who was the officer in charge at the office of the deputy president when Rashid Echesa and the two foreigners accessed the VIP section of that office. And we all know what happened to Sergeant Kenei. But two theories were being advanced, and the police are already ruling out the first theory. The first theory which was being advanced was that this guy might have committed suicide. But the question is, why would a disciplined officer commit a suicide just because of the fact that he was on duty and allowed certain people who are known to him to access the office? So that was the first theory. And the police, based on the latest information, are already ruling out the suicide theory, and we are going to look into that. Then the next theory is the fact that maybe he was eliminated. But why would someone eliminate just a mere sergeant who was doing his job? Why would someone do that? Two reasons. The first reason could be that these guys wanted to divert the attention of the country from this particular scandal. And as a matter of fact, as things are today, when you talk of Sergeant Kenei, and when you talk of this particular 40 billion gold scam, people only focus now on the murder of Sergeant Kenei. People are no longer interrogating the 40 billion tender. What really happened? What Kenyans now want to know is what really happened to Sergeant Kenei. So probably they wanted to divert the attention of the country, which I think they have succeeded, from the real issue of the 40 billion gun scandal. The other theory is that probably these guys wanted to interfere with the evidence. We all know that Kenei was the guy who was on duty on that day, and he was the guy in charge of security. And based on the information which are available, when the DCI interviewed the rest of the security team, according to them, including the secretary and the receptionist, according to them, they only allowed these guys because they had been cleared. But who cleared them? Sergeant Kenei. And that's where the investigations are currently at. And the investigators are already ruling out the possibility of a suicide because of two emerging issues. There's the issue of the M-Pesa, which we are going to go into details, and then there is the issue of that suicide note. Now let's begin with the suicide note. According to investigators, when this guy was found in his room, there was a note which was left behind. And in that note, there was a name of a relative. But they've done their investigations. And yesterday they confirmed that that note did not match the handwriting on that note did not match the handwriting of Sergeant Kenei. And the question is, who wrote that note? And that's why they're ruling out the possibility of suicide. And the other matter is the issue of M-Pesa. On Tuesday last week, before this guy died, he made a lot of phone calls to the wife. And they spoke. So on that day, this guy spoke with the wife severally. And they went chatted and their SMS, their WhatsApp chats with the wife. And according to investigators, these guys chatted until, according to the wife, they chatted until around 9:51 p.m. on that day. Let me just confirm. I don't want to nini on rumors. They chatted up to around 9:51 p.m. Then wakasema, okay, good night, good night. Then around midnight, that is around exactly 12:25 a.m. Now on Wednesday in the morning, the wife receives some M-Pesa, 35,000 Kenyan shillings. And she was like, we didn't talk about this money. So akatuma message, oh, what is the use of this money? The guy didn't respond. Then she called. The guy didn't pick. Then she went and slept. That was around 12:25 a.m. now on Wednesday. Very early in the morning, past midnight. Then around 7:32 a.m. Now that's in the morning on Wednesday. The father received another M-Pesa. 10,000 Kenyan shillings. And the father was like, what's the use of this money? You know, like if you're used to sending your dad like 2,000, 1,000, 5,000, then all of a sudden you send him 10,000, he must ask you. So the dad tried calling this guy, phone was not received. And this is why the police are now narrowing down on murder. Someone assassinated this guy. And the time, they're now narrowing the time to, let's say, between after they talked with the wife, from the time he talked with the wife and the time the wife received the M-Pesa. But how did they access the phone? I don't know the kind of phone he's using. But if he's using biometric phones, probably he might have used fingerprint. And you all know what happened to Musando. Musando was also made to access, Musando was also eliminated, and the guys used his fingers to access the Kim's kit. Probably this is what these guys did. After dealing with this guy, then they picked his finger and used it to unlock the phone. And that's when now they decided, okay, let's send 10,000, 35,000 to the wife. And then again, let's send another 10,000 to the father. And basically, all this, if you look at them critically, they were part of a strategy to conceal this murder. Because why would you leave a note? That's the first question. Number two, why would you send the wife that kind of money? Probably because these guys thought in their minds that the problem is that the wife was likely to report early because of the fact that she didn't have money. And now they sent the money so that even if this guy is not picking calls, the wife would be comfortable. And that's exactly what they did to the father. That was on Wednesday. So this guy might have been killed between the time he talked to the wife and the time the wife received that M-Pesa. But the funny thing, this money was also transferred from his Equity account, Equity bank account. So it's a very complex situation. And I was reading something from a guy here. Let me just read it for you. There was something interesting which I was reading from a guy called Onyango Ochieng Jr. Onyango Ochieng Jr. is a doctor of political science. He's a friend of mine. He was saying something like this. When DCI detectives picked CCTV clips from Ruto's office on this arms scandal, let me just repeat again. When the DCI detectives picked CCTV clips from Ruto's office on this arms scandal, immediately the late Sergeant Kenei became a serious person of interest, which is the fact. The moment the CCTV cameras were picked, this guy became person of interest. And then is continuing. In the race to get him to speak based on what DCI saw and heard in the clip, Kenei became a high-value target. I hope you are getting. For two reasons. He's saying the first reason is that for the cartels at the DP's office ought to cover their track. And two, DP's close allies ought to delete any direct link of the DP to this shameful scam. So basically what Onyango is saying, that the moment this guy, the DCI picked that clip, they had certain things in it, then this guy became a target. And he's explaining that this target could be for two reasons, that the cartels around the DP's office, not necessarily the DP, the guys who are using the DP's office to access these things, wanted to cover their tracks, and two, that close allies of the DP didn't want any direct link to the DP. And by the fact that this guy is now gone, probably that has been achieved. And he's saying two quick theories, friends. Number one, Kenei was a new recruit into this criminal enterprise, and it must have been feared that would talk too much when pushed to extreme limits by the DCI. So it's giving a theory here, which I'm also buying, that probably Kenei might have been part of this team. He might have been recruited. That's why he allowed them in, despite the fact that the DP was out of office on that day. And the fact that he was recruited and this thing had exploded, that probably this guy's feared he's likely to make a lot of noise. He was going to expose a lot. So these guys had to eliminate him. That's number one. He's also explaining, number two, that his role in this camp must have either been the DP through voiceover or masquerading as the DP himself. Very interesting perspective by Onyango Jr. That probably this guy might have been the guy used, like, the guy who imitated Uhuru. And that guy gave 10 million. So probably this guy might have at some point been used to imitate the DP. Importantly, DP was firmly aware of everything. He is in charge like an impresario or any mafia boss in Sicily. I don't know what is meant there. But he's concluding something which I think I said in my previous video. Going forward, DCI must always conduct a risk analysis on a case-by-case basis and immediately place such high-value targets under state protection to ensure that their lives are protected and to safe delivery of information in their possession. Because I'm repeating here, if this case will not be resolved, this case of Kenei will not be resolved in case, then we'll still expect more murder cases. This thing started during the murder of Uhuru. Today, nobody knows who killed Uhuru. And it has been like this. So the perpetrators are well aware that you can take life of any Kenyan, then get away with it because investigations will not be conducted. But to the family, I must say that the family of Kenei are very focused. They want justice. That's what they've been calling for. So personally, I want to ask them to persist and continue demanding answers to what happened to this. Because this country, we have politicians. They're behaving in this country as if nothing happened. A guy has been killed who was the chief security officer at the office of the deputy president. Kenyans are operating as if, even that office, as if nothing happened. I've not even seen them going to the family. They're operating as if nothing happened. So basically what is confirming here is that in this country, there are two kinds of human beings. There's a lesser human Kenyans, and they're like those ordinary Kenyans. If this guy was coming from a well-off-to-do family, I'm sure investigations by now would almost be completing. They would be completing. Today, even the postmortem has not been concluded. Why is that happening? Is it the fact that the government pathologist is still so busy? Or is it because the family cannot afford a private pathologist? I don't know what you think. But I want to agree that this guy was eliminated. The reasons why he was eliminated, we still don't know. But my theory will stand that this guy was probably eliminated to divert Kenyans from now interrogating this real scam, the 39 billion scam. I don't know what you think. I want to get your thoughts on this matter. Thank you guys, and please may you have a good day.